Well, it says I'm live. You don't have video yet because I don't have my lens on. So I am here. I am. I'm almost getting stuff set up. Hang on. Just about there. Go. Hi guys, I'm finally here. Had a hell of a time. Okay. Hello. To me and the crazy. I look awful. I look like... Hey God, 1 second, guys. There we go. Oh, you're watching another video. Okay. All right, let's see if we can do this right. That would be nice. Sorry, folks. It's just a little... it's been an interesting 2 weeks, to say the least. There we go. Okay, another light would be good. Okay, add the light. Oh, well, that makes things interesting. All right, now let's try this again. Come on, open up. There we are. Okay. That's as good as it's going to get, I think. Anyhow, hi guys. Welcome to Restore Belief with Nikki. I'm Nikki. As most of you know, I got quite sick. I had serious back problems, and then I had a virus in which I think it's over with. I hope it's over with. It's not good. Anyway, hi, Mr. B. How you doing, hun? Yeah, I got nailed really hardcore, Christine. I got nailed big time, to say the least. I got a virus. I was doing hey, Woo Riders. I was doing a lot of sneezing and stuff, and which is one of the reasons why I haven't gone to see Mom in a month or more than a month, because hello, I keep getting these stupid viruses. Or little like day colds and things, and there's no way in hell I'm going to see her and end up giving her something. There's no way in hell. So yeah, I mean, with the fact that she's in a facility, there's no way I would do that. Yeah, actually, well, I wasn't able to take any of my vitamins, Woo Riders, or my supplements, and that kind of made things worse because I was so nauseated. Here's the thing. I don't know if I'm going to talk about this, but we'll see. So the subject tonight is hybrid pregnancies, hybrid babies. And only a couple of you will find that comical, considering what I said earlier this week. And I'm realizing I'm not at the top. Live chat. Thank you. There we go. And so, and then we're dealing with souls, anything else paranormal, and of course spirits. And you hear somebody in the kitchen, they're making stuff. So, definitely hope you get to feeling better. Yeah, it's been really, really, really rough, to say the very least. So I got that, and at the same time, my hormones went off the charts. Right after being told I was menopausal. And when I asked today, because I knew that I had 4 shots, when I asked today how many shots I actually received, I got told 5 by the ETs, And I'm like, well, let's see. I have somebody that can verify that I was screaming on the phone last weekend, because while I was on the phone with them, I was getting shots by the ETs. They were standing here. And it felt like little a brain fart going on. I'm tired, guys. I'm doing better, but I'm tired, so please forgive me. It felt like what the Fae had done, the fairies had done with climbing all over me. That, well, I was going to say one time, but there's a number of times that they've done that, but there's 2 times that I really think about. One specifically I really think about. And so in the meantime, I'm in the process of getting sick. The hormones are going off the charts. The ETs are going at me. And then I find out that I'm being given shots. And I'm like, why am I being given shots? Well, come to find out, there's a very valid reason they did them. And, oh, stop it. It's because I got liquid in my stomach now. So I woke up on Monday morning. Monday night, I don't remember. Monday, sometime Monday. And I'm barely awake. And the next thing I hear, as I'm literally, my head's not even off the pillow to get up out of my bed to go to the bathroom. And on the other side of my wall is a walking path. Rather well hidden walking path, but a walking path nonetheless. And outside of my wall, I psychically and mediumship wise hear 2 ETs, and I'm realizing that they're ETs, and they're saying something very specific about my health, and that they can't do certain things because of what they've already done. Yeah, and it didn't, I heard it, and I'm like, okay. I get up, I go to the bathroom, I forget about it, because, you do your bathroom routine, you're tired, you're half there, and you go to wash your hands, and you walk back into your room and sit down because, hello, your back is hurting, and you're trying to figure out how to get your back to not be hurting quite so badly, or your ribs. And the next thing I'm hearing them talk again. But this time they're talking, they're clicking. And ETs that click are usually the grays, not always, but there are mantids that do it too. There are other races that click. That's how they communicate with each other through, it's their language is a form of clicking. And I can't, anytime I've ever tried to make this sound, there's no way in hell. It's a very, very, very specific sound that they make. That said, I'm hearing clicking, and I'm realizing, oh, I know what time it was. It was 11:30 at night. But it was my morning. At that given moment in time, because I was really not feeling good by that point. So I was having even weirder sleep hours. So anyway, and I was in the process of running a fever as well on top of it. So I really wasn't doing well. And getting through it, basically, And I can actually do that. I can actually move my head without my head hurting this time. That's a big deal. Sinuses have gotten better. So I'm sitting here and I'm realizing as I'm scrolling through my phone that I'm hearing clicking outside. I'm like, why the hell am I hearing clicking? And then it gets quieter and quieter. Because I actually said, why am I hearing clicking outside? And then I realized it sounds like birds chirping in a very, very, there's certain birds and certain squirrels, I couldn't think of what they were called, here in Washington State that have a form of clicking. And it's usually the squirrels that do it. But it literally, for whatever reason, this reminded me of the really, really little, like nuthatches and titmouse birds and a couple of other real little birds. And I'm like, it's 11:45 by this point at night. Why am I hearing what sounds like birds? And then I'm realizing that it's torrential raining at that given moment in time. And then I'm going, oh, really? So I sit up, I ground, I center, semi-ground and center. Because I really wasn't up for it. I really wasn't doing well. And I look at the wall and I went, okay, here we go. And I look through the wall psychically, higher consciously, and I'm seeing 2 tall grays, 7-foot tall ones. And I went, or tall whites, whatever you want to call them. Anyway, I call them tall grays or tall whites because that's what they look like from a distance, and up close they have this pale, pale gray skin. Didn't frighten me. I'm so used to them that it just, and actually these 2 felt like family. I don't know why, but they actually felt like family to me, which I find incredible. I still find incredible because I still think of one of them like a father figure, which just kind of cracks me up in a way. It cracks me up, but it doesn't. I'm so very normal and used to it that it doesn't even really faze me. I mean, but yet at the same time, you think about it and it's like, well, you're going to sound like a nutball. And at this stage of my life, I don't give 2 shits what people think of me. They're going to think whatever they want to think. These are my experiences. This is what I've gone through. This is what I'm remembering. I'm an ET abductee. If you can't handle that, move along. That's my take on it right now. I don't give a shit anymore. If people can't handle that, hey, Trace, it's good to see you, hon. If people cannot handle the fact that I'm openly talking about it, then move along. It's not, I'm not part of your community. I've got people in my own life that are like, I'm supporting you, Nikki. I believe in you. I've known you for 30 some years, or I've known you for 20 years, or 15 or 10 or 5 or whatever. And they're like, you don't lie. You do you tell it like it is, or you try to tell it like it is so that you're not hurting somebody's feelings. And now I'm like, you know what? I will still try to be nice about things. I had dealt with a troll yesterday. I gotta think of what today is. Yeah, it was last night. I got my kicks off of it. Cracked me up. I haven't done that in ages. I was like, seriously, dude, what the hell are you doing in a ufology group if you don't believe in it, and all you're gonna do is bitch at every single person in the goddamn chat in this group? Why the hell are you even bothering to be here? I mean, seriously. It's one thing to ask questions or ridiculous questions, but it's another thing. In the grand scheme of things, not everything's ridiculous. I should know better than that. Anyway, sorry. But it was how the questions were done, but it was also in the sense of how nasty this guy got. with people. And I was like, then I started hunting, and I'm like, okay, so you've done this to 3 people specifically, but you really targeted me. And I went, all right, you know. And of course he's going on the I want proof, you don't have shit. And I'm like, well, hey, you didn't ask for evidence, number one. It's all in the questions. It's all in the attitude, it's all in the questions. It's, you want information, but if you're going to be an asshole about it, I can be an asshole too. I'll be as nice as you can be. If you're that way with, come at me with, I'll either turn around and walk away because you are not worth my time. But I actually found this really interesting. It was a heck of a learning experience because this guy had very interesting questions, but yet at the same time, it wasn't. And I was like, why are you doing this? I'm like, I kept asking myself, why the hell are you even bothering with a douchebag like this? And I'm like, he's one of those that he's not putting any effort into it. He's not putting any effort into asking logical, critical thinking questions. He's like, okay, I guess I'm feeling better. I don't typically deal with trolls. I'm like, you know what? You're not worth my time. And you're being a you're being a stupid human. And I don't appreciate that. So anyway, I just went, no, I'm done. I'm done. So I used to deal with the scammers a lot. I had a friend who's now passed, and I told him last night, I said, I know you're around. I can't feel you right now, but I've felt you off and on in the last couple of weeks, and I know you would have been proud of me and how I dealt with that. Because he and we used to deal with the scammers a lot back in the day. I learned a lot because of those experiences and how to deal with certain trolls. So, but yeah. Anyway. Well, the topics here tonight, Trace, I started talking about them earlier. One of them was having 2 ETs here. Then actually the weekend before, I had the same 2 ETs while I was on the phone with my friend, and which he can verify, because I was like, I ended up with over 10 spirits in my home, or in my room, actually, because this is my bedroom. And it was weird because it was like it was wall to wall. On one hand, I could feel them. On another hand, I could partially see them. So it was like wall to wall spirits from this side of me coming around my back, standing basically in front of where this computer is located right now, and then off to my bedroom door and out the door and out the wall. And I was just like, wow, you guys, what the hell is going on? Why is this such a big deal? And so I learned something, and I'm going to tell you about it, which is why I want to deal with spirits and why I want to deal with souls, why I want to deal with hybrids, the babies and the children and the adults. So I got told by a retired MUFON director, I'm not going to say what state, but he and I were in quite a bit of communication a number of years ago. And one of the things that he told me that I didn't know was that MUFON, now somebody else from MUFON is going to have to correct me on this, but this is what I was told. I did the wrong side. I want this side done. Everything's backwards in this thing. It's just to meet Batty. Anyway, one of the things that he told me was that MUFON classifies hybrid babies that are born on Earth called Humbrids. Humbrid, as in dog, S. Humbrids. And I was like, really? Well, that's news to me. So, and I don't know why it didn't even dawn on me, but yes, thank you. Trace put it in the chat, the spelling of it. And so, ouch. So they're human born, human birthed on Earth. Excuse me, whereas mine are not. My hybrid pregnancies, my ET hybrid babies, because I'm a surrogate mother. Something just dawned on me today. I'm wondering if they're... hi, Joe. Maury said I was not the father. Yeah, no, honey, you're not. So, God, now I got that stuck in my head, dear. Okay, let's see if I can do this without screaming. The other day I did this and I was screaming my head off. So basically, the babies that I have, they're removed at 3 months or 4 months. It depends on the, I don't know, what do you want to call it? The breed that they've spliced and diced the genetics with for the sperm, and how they're doing the egg. I have no idea. I don't know. I know that I've watched it. I watched it when I was 4 years old, 5 years old, 6 years old. I have a very... I think about this now, and I know I've talked about it in the past, and not all that long ago, but I chuckle about it now because one of the ways that you keep a very active 4-year-old out of everything... And it cracked me up because this was done in the 70s. So, they had me sit down, wrap my arms and my legs around a 7-foot-tall ET. Very skinny little legs. Skinny little legs. I'm not that skinny, but skinny. And so, I was shown the splicing and dicing, but I was asking way too many questions and into way too many things. And he was like, sit down. Do you need to sit down? I want your hands. Hang on a second. I want your hands like this, wrapped around my leg, and keep your hands like that. So I was sitting cross-legged with his leg and foot, and so my feet were on top of his foot, so to speak. But it's weird because I don't really remember that part of it. I remember holding on to his leg or just having my hand wrapped like that, my fingers wrapped like that, and yeah, that's active little kid. Hello. So I crack up over stuff like that because it's a heck of a memory. Did you write his foot? That's what I see. I don't remember anything other than that, Trace. I don't remember anything else other than that. I just know that I was very, very active, and that was one of the ways that they corralled me. sit your butt down on the ground, stay stationary. And they had people come to them, or come to him, and it was a guy, and he is the one that pretty much sticks by me. Now, in the last 2 months, I have talked out loud. I know that I'm being monitored by them. I know I am. I can feel it. I don't know how to explain it. It's like my body automatically knows, but consciously it's not quite there. But my cell memory, muscle memory, nerve memory, all of it knows when they've been around, but yet I'm conscious going, when were they here? And I'm like, when I wake up, I automatically know, but then it's like you literally forget about it because your day goes on. And you're so used to this that sometimes it doesn't even faze me. Which is sad to say, but it's, it's the truth. So regarding the babies, yeah, there are some that are born on Earth, and supposedly MUFON calls them Humbrids instead of hybrids, and the hybrids are considered the ones that are born on ship. Didn't know that. So, and that was a few years ago, is what I was told about that. So now that said, and their birth, just the ones that are on Earth, they're born just full term. The ones that are born on ship, now there's a couple of different programs that I am aware of. There's one where, and I have talked about this in the past, there is a program, hybrid program. This one I'm not involved in, but I do know a couple of people who are. I don't know them personally. I know of them. I know other people who know them personally. But they've publicly talked about the fact that they go through a full pregnancy, however long that is. They go through a full pregnancy while here on Earth, and they're brought up there to deliver the babies. It's not me. I'm not in that program. But I know this. As much as I am monitored, I know that the others that are giving birth, actual physically giving birth to hybrid babies on craft, on ship, they're going to be heavily monitored. They're going to be more monitored than I am. Now, I do also know that any hybrids, this is part estimation, assumption, but it's also based on what I know and how. And thank you for the 4 likes. I appreciate that, guys. Thank you very much. And for those that are here watching, and for those that come in later for the replay, thank you. I appreciate that very much. Okay, this is my one moment before I forget it again. Please like, share, and subscribe. I do appreciate that very much. Anyway, so I know that if I'm in a group where I'm being monitored, and I know the kind of monitoring that they're doing on me, I know that they're going to be a lot more intense of monitoring a surrogate who is actually going to be birthing on their, actually physically giving birth on their ship. They're going to be heavily monitoring that pregnancy. They're also going to be monitoring the births on Earth. Now, I do not know why they would allow a human birth on Earth. That fascinates me. I actually would love to have answers on that from the ETs, because Why are they doing that? Now, I also somehow know that they're dealing with the genetics in a very specific way that even married couples can have hybrids. They can have their genetics, the sperm be spliced and diced. And I know the egg can be spliced and diced, but I also know those genetics can be spliced and diced with other genetics. I don't know how it's I don't have a clue as to how it's I just know it can be done. And it would assume you would assume that it's the couple having a regular pregnancy, regular human pregnancy. Why would they do that? I have no idea. I have no freaking clue. But I know it can be done. Think about that. I've seen a lot of video of children, of teens, of young adults, over 18, who look like very specific races of ET in human bodies. Not joking when I say that. I could give you evidence that I'm not. I could show you picture after picture after picture if I had. I've got the whatchamacallits written down. I can't think of what they're called. The websites, the addresses, and stuff like that. But I'm not going to pass that out to people. There's a very small select group of individuals that I actually trust that do have those. And they're like, holy shit. And I'm like, yeah, this is what the babies look like when, and this is a human kid that has been born on this planet. But yet, why do they look like an ET hybrid human kid, baby? Why do they look like a 3-4-year-old hybrid that I have seen on ship? Why? There's no way in hell our human genetics can do that. There's no way. Not that kind of, oh, stop it, stomach. Not that kind of thing. Mm-mm. These are very, very, very specific. Now, their skin isn't green, it isn't blue, it's Caucasian. But I'd be fascinating what color they were when they were birthed, like moments after they were born. Be very fascinated to find out. Were they bright red? Were they pale blue? Were they pale green? Or were they gray? Think about that one a moment. So that all said, it's just some things to think about, right? So you've got that going, and then you've got situations to where okay, the pregnancies, the hybrid pregnancies, you're telepathic with your baby. You may not realize it, but you're telepathic with your baby. And interestingly enough, you're telepathic with your human babies too. Did you know that? If you didn't, you might, and you're pregnant, you might want to consider mentally talking to your kid because they can hear you. Anything you verbally say, anything you think can be heard by the infant that you are carrying. I'm not joking when I talk about this. It has been societal, it has been taken out of us, society-wise. If we have that understanding and that knowing, I had telepathic communication with my son when I was pregnant with him, my human son. Didn't register what was going on at the time, but that's what was going on. I look back on it now and I'm like, holy shit. It's a big deal. It's a really big deal. I had a situation with one of my hybrids. I'm debating on whether I'm going to describe this because it's extremely personal. I chose to use a massager on my back and my hip. This one specific time while I was ET pregnant. And apparently the vibration bothered the living shit. Mama, please stop. I'm like, what? I'm nowhere. What? So it's that to me is very embarrassing because it's like you're putting this on your ribs and down your side and down into your back and into your thigh because the muscles hurt so freaking bad. And it's like, I'm not even, what the hell? But it's just embarrassing to me because it's something where they're feeling the vibration so strongly. Yeah, I've got one. He's so Trace just asked, do you have Earth children? Yeah, I do. I've got one. He's 32. He's going to be 33 next month. So, and I was supposed to have another one, but that didn't happen. And I've had a few miscarriages, hybrid pregnancy miscarriages. So, and the last one I had that I was conscious of, saw it in the toilet and went, "Oh my God, I miscarried!" And it's gonna sound bad, but I went and I grabbed my phone and I was like, "Okay, we're taking pictures because nobody's gonna fucking believe me." And sure shit, I was like, you've got to be freaking kidding me. Freaked me out big time. And then I just lost it. Emotionally, I lost it. ETs were right back the following month trying to make it happen. Make it happen, Captain. The old saying goes. Anyway, yeah. You can have hybrid miscarriages because your body is just, you're like, nope, body's not having it right now. It's not the right time. And it's not you doing it. It's literally your body. There's something wrong to where it's not right at that given moment in time. And your body is just like, nope, not doing it. It's very frustrating. And it's a tearjerker. Doesn't matter if it's a human child or a hybrid child. It's still emotional. And you've got to remember, and something that didn't dawn on me until a few years ago, after I started doing some research, because some information came my way and I went, holy shit, it started a whole cycle of critical thinking things, and I lost my shit over it, and I started doing some research. And one of the things that I learned medically was that when do your own research on this, look it up. Google it. Use whatever search engine that you want to search under. And I gotta trim my hair again. It's too long. Could be down to here if I didn't trim it earlier. Anyway, The point being is that you can, and I'm all over the place. I really apologize. I need to be writing not a script, but the hell is it called? Bullet point. So I have all of that. But the thing is that you can miscarriage, you can any of that pregnancy hormones, those go right through your body. They stay with you an entire lifetime. Anybody you have sex with, that sperm stays with you. Literally. It will stay with your body. It becomes part of you. Think about that, ladies. It's not a joke. Go freaking look it up. Go Google it. So you've got that delayed reaction. Wow. So you've got that kind of situation, and when you're hybrid pregnant or any kind of, human pregnant, hybrid, excuse me, and you get pregnant, those pregnancy hormones and that baby is a part of your brain. Those genetics become every part of you. Think about that. So out of all the kids, and I honestly, I asked, I said, is this baby number 29 or is this baby number 30? And I got told this is baby number 30 that I'm going to be dealing with. So, that's a lot of babies. That's a lot of babies. That's a lot of ET genetics in this body. Think about that. But I'm still me. I'm still very much me. I've it doesn't freak me out. It did at first. It doesn't anymore. And it did solely because I was like, what does that mean? And then I started doing the research into it, and I was like, oh, okay. So there's 2 pregnancies that I had in the mid-90s where I knew I was pregnant and something was wrong. And I was literally in the process of dialing the phone to call the doctor and say, hey, I need to do a pregnancy test and I need to come in. Something's not right. And that night, I lost the baby. I didn't think I was that far along. Well, and it was lost the baby in the toilet type of situation. So, and if I had known back then what I know now, well, I think it was for my own safety's sake that I didn't know back then. Didn't remember, wasn't allowed remembering. Because there are a lot of blocked memories that I've got. And they are blocked. And there are screen memories. No, I have not had a hysterectomy. Although I do know people that have had, see, some people would say that is an inappropriate question. Bullshit. You're dealing with, and I think it's an excellent question. Thank you, Trace. She was asking, have you had a hysterectomy? No, I have not. Interestingly enough, I know women who have had hysterectomies and who have been ET pregnant after them. Didn't know that was possible. It's possible, folks. People are going to say, call bullshit. No. And I'm not revealing my sources. There's no way in hell I would ever do that to them. But there are women that do talk quite openly about it. Not many, but they do talk about it. So that means, how is it that they don't have certain things, but that they can hold a pregnancy. I do not understand that whatsoever. It makes no logical sense to me, but do I believe them? Yes, I do. Because I've seen some really bizarre shit. Medically, I have seen some very bizarre shit in my lifetime. And we're talking on board, ready to get the goddamn scissors right now. It's driving me nuts. Yeah, you're welcome, honey. She says, thanks for answering. I mean, in this subject, almost any question is not inappropriate. There are things that I believe people have a right to know. There are certain things that I think people do not have the right to know, and because they are so intimately, they're so intimately personal. There are things that I will not describe. There are things that I don't even describe to my closest friends. I just won't. There are things that, yeah, I will gladly talk about and gladly describe. Hey, Amy, I don't know if I said hello to you, Amy. If I didn't, I apologize. If I did, hello again. Anyway, so yeah, it's kind of a big deal. This is a subject to where you're dealing with hybrid pregnancies. Now I have talked about the process. I'm not going to talk about the process tonight. And these babies can be almost any race. Almost. There are some races, like the Dracos, I don't believe they can be because, well, number one, they're too big. And I don't honestly believe, I think if they ever tried to do something like that, I think it would be a 1-month pregnancy because they are so gigantic. And to be honest, I've had a couple of pregnancies with really big species, and they took the babies at 2 months. I felt like I was carrying twins or triplets because you feel them growing and getting bigger and starting to move, and I'm like, guys, you need to get this kid, like and they do. I mean, usually a week after, but I'm saying that because I'm like, I can feel this is not okay. I can, and if this kid's got claws, you're not going to have somebody ripping me to shreds from the inside out. I don't frickin' think so. I will not put up with that shit. So, I'm getting messages after message. So basically, there are certain limits. I will say there are certain limits, but, oh, okay, well, that can wait. Hang on one second. Okay, who am I? Okay, now I understand. Okay, so now that that's all done, the baby grows so fast. Yeah, they really do. Here's the program that I'm in, and I've talked about this repeatedly. The specific hybridization program that I'm in specifically deals with they take the babies from the surrogate mom at 3 and 4 months. Then they put them in a gestational container. And I have seen containers. Where the hell is it? Now, this is an AI version. Okay, let's see if I can do this. Come on. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Unplug. Oh, you just took away my enlargement. Crapola. There we go. Let's see if we can get this in here. I've seen babies in containers similar to that. They do not have their eyes open. There we go. There we go. They're in containers similar to that. The difference is that the gel is green. The entire gel. They're not sitting on anything. This one was an AI version that I created. It really irritated the crap out of me, but it was the closest I could get without the AI freaking the hell out. Oh, somebody wanted to see ships that I've seen. I've seen one real similar to this, like real similar. Real similar to that. I've seen ones that look like that are not round. They are rectangular. Anyway, so yeah, they're put into like what I call a jelly sack. The liquid is either blue or it's green. I do not know what that means. Don't even bother asking me. If I knew, I would frickin' tell you in a heartbeat. One of the things that I told him I'd be a mouthpiece for him, and I know that I would be. Regarding certain aspects, not their agendas, but regarding a number of aspects, because there are things that I want access to. I want access to my babies. I should have that now, but I really don't. I do know that periodically one of my adult children, when I am on board ship, that one or two of my adult children, do I recognize them on board ship? My soul recognizes them. Consciously, I don't. I'm here to tell you how badly that sucks. But then at the same time, you have to remember some of them are not going to respond to you. They'll recognize you because, hello, they're raised ET. But some of them have the Hive consciousness and mind. That's a very good question. Trace is asking, what do the hybrids do on ship? Some of them become scientists and continue with this. Some of them are, I know from what one of my sons told me, was that some of them go off into other planets. I'm trying to think of how to phrase this because of how I was told. They go off into other planets. Some of them get into hardcore sciences. Some of them get into not hybrid. The science of specific, like food manufacturing. I can't think of what that's called. There's a specific word that I'm thinking of that they use that essentially means the same thing for an earth word, but I can't think of how to phrase it. Number one, I can't think of the word. Number two, I can't think of how to phrase it. It reminds me of what our I was going to say big pharma scientists. It reminds me of, because they're so involved, but what they do is for the positive, not for the negative, and not for the money, because they don't have money. I heard sorry, I just had something pop up through my head. I heard a video recently. It was a mini reel. And this guy was talking about an ET that he talks with. And the ET was commenting on, I don't understand why you have that paper thing that you have, and you use it to buy things. You're the only planet. Now, this is what he was telling his human counterpart. You're the only planet that, I can't remember how he phrased it, but you're the only planet that does that uses money or a form of money. Nobody else does. And I don't understand. What got me was the statement of, I don't understand why you have to be born on a planet and then pay for the right to be and live on that planet. And I was like, that is a hell of a statement. I mean, seriously, a hell. When you think about that one, foot's gonna try to get my foot to pop because it's bugging me. That's a hell of a statement to make, folks. Think about that. You're born, and then you have to pay everything under the sun to continue living on the planet. And I find it fascinating because, I mean, whether or not that was said by an ET, which I do believe it was because there were a number of other factors, I've heard something similar. It's not the exact, but something similar. And I don't remember the phrase that was said to me, but it was along those lines. And it was said to me, would have been the 1990s. And in the 1990s, it was during when I was taken into this gigantic room with a lot of other races of ET and told to keep my mind shut down so that I would not be thinking. Because to them, telepathic thinking radiates out to everybody, or self-talk radiates out to everybody. So anything you think, literally everybody else hears. So if you don't have anything nice to say, don't frickin' think it, because it becomes a real issue, and it becomes offensive to the ETs. Found that out the hard way. Anyway, so I was in this room, and but that's where I heard it. That's why I remember it. Anyway, the point is that, yeah, they don't understand Earth. They don't understand certain things. And I honestly believe that there are a number of races of ET who do not like. How do I say this without getting into trouble? Humans because of our governments. I think that's how I'm going to say it. I think humans are liked in some regard, but I think the way the government's narratives have screwed with everything. I think that's why, I mean, we're not well liked. We're considered the infancy of multiple galaxies. And we're wild, and we're considered, I've been consistently for a lot of years told by the ETs, you are children. You are tiny, tiny children. You don't know what the hell is going on. You don't care to know. And there's a real anger towards us. And I understand why. I mean, but yet at the same time, there are certain races that are trying, what the hell was that? There's certain races that are trying to get, certain races that are trying to get back their humanity to some degree. and their emotions. And I got told just a few years ago that they're actually dealing with emotions. They're trying to put emotions back into the genetics because they've taken a lot of the emotion, the human emotion, out of the gene pool. And I'm like, okay, how the hell did you do that? So I'm at an hour. If you've got questions, feel free to ask. Yeah, 9:10. Okay. So, like I said, this here is driving me nuts. Seriously, the scissors are within reach. It's just anyway. So what do the hybrids do on the ship? Well, some of them help with the babies. Some of them help with the children. There's a lot of storage that happens on some of these bigger motherships. And the storage containers, whether they're filled with ET babies or whether they are filled with clones. Not all races make clones. The humans make clones. This I know for a fact. To me, that's fact. I've seen them. But can I prove it? No, of course not, because it's the deeply guarded secret. I saw a reel when I was sick this week, and it was a guy talking about it was a human scientist talking about how they can clone a human now, and it's this and it's that, and he was describing some of it, and he goes, but it's all illegal. And so the interview, I don't remember who the interviewer was right now, but the interviewer was like, so you could take, basically what you're telling me is you could take cells from me and create another version of me. And the scientist goes, oh yeah, it's easy to do now. But he said it's fully and completely illegal. You can't do it. Well, hello, we've been doing it for over 30 freaking years. I know this because I've got 3 goddamn clones on board a ship. Didn't expect to talk about clones, sorry. Anyway, so here you've got ET babies, ET pregnancies, and back when they first started doing this with me when I was 13 years old, those were 5 and 6 month pregnancies. That's what I was going to tell you, was that one of the things that I learned recently was that, so I knew a soul, we're dealing with a different subject to some degree. So I knew that a soul can incarnate, go into a baby while the baby is in utero, in the mother, at any time during the pregnancy. What I did not know until recently was that, I thought they had to be in the process of being developed into that little, from the egg into the just after the zygote stage. And I found out I was wrong. I found out that souls can incarnate as early as fertilization. Shocked the hell out of me, folks. All the way up until seconds before birth or moments before birth. That's kind of a big frickin' deal. I was absolutely astounded when I heard that, when I found that out. Well, I don't know if I want to say that. we're trying to figure out how to say what I was going to say. I did not know that right after fertilization of the egg, a soul can go into another soul can go into that fertilized egg. I had no idea. I didn't know it could go into a zygote. Not a clue. So, and if you have really high protection around you, it's going to be very difficult for that any soul. And you're pregnant, it's going to be very, very, very difficult for any soul to incarnate into that baby if you're pregnant. So just an FYI. Kind of interesting. Some souls, some ET souls, can be very heavy. Sometimes when that happens, that usually means that they're formerly from a very large ET race, sometimes over 7 feet tall. I had one hybrid pregnancy that the ET was feline. I had to think about how I was going to phrase that without getting myself into trouble. Was a feline race, species, whatever. And come to find out, I felt like I was pregnant with twins because the soul was so heavy, not the baby. I was like, okay. I had to have a heck of a conversation with a friend of mine. Hello. I'm still going. I've got the heck. Oh, here we go again. What is that? So basically, it's absolutely amazing to me. I did not know that souls themselves can be heavy. Now I know that a wannabe or a true demon can be. They've got very heavy. It's not lightweight. Their energy is heavy. It's not just the soul itself. It's so this is what I've learned. Human souls are much smaller than certain races of ET souls. Didn't know that either. That was a hell of a mind bender when I learned that. That was a big mind bender. That was a hell of a time for me to wrap my head around that one. Let alone wrap my head around how old some of these ETs are and how much they live, how long they live. That was a hell of a realization. So these pregnancies can, depending upon the race that they've done the splicing and dicing with, they can be taken from 2 months because the babies get so big so fast. The feline that I had, that's a shapeshifter ET. When after birth and after they've been around a while, they can shapeshift. But as an infant, they don't. They come out as a human. Or if it's been hybridized, it comes out looking human. And not feline. It doesn't have any of the facial features. It looks like a regular human baby, other than the color is off. I've had some babies that have been blue. I've had some babies that have been Caucasian, then change color. I've had some babies that have been what I can only classify as seafoam green. No. Two of them, yes, I do. The rest of them, not a freaking clue. And their consciousness is so much higher than mine. And okay, so Trace just asked, do you know where your children are now and what they are doing? And I said no. There's two that try to let me know, but they've got to be very, very careful about it. Because of the hive mind. Because they're not supposed to let the mothers know. They are not supposed to be in communication. I've been allowed communication with one of them by the Grand, I want to call it the Grand Council, but it's the council on that ship specifically. It's not the Council of 5 or Council of 6 or even the Council of 12 or the Council of 9. It's not any of them that are given permission. It's the ones who are actually doing the splicing and dicing, and they want to see where the connection and the communication is going to go. Okay, body. Enough of that shit. So, I mean, that's really good question. I mean, excellent question, in fact. So the ETs do not want us communicating. And I find that really rather atrocious. In some fashion or form, skin. Oh, it's because I used a specific soap tonight. Jesus. I'm gonna have to go wash my face again. Love allergies. Apparently I've got a new one. Anyway, so what I know is that they don't want us communicate them. They don't want the mothers communicating with the adult children or as they're growing up. Mostly because, well, okay, as they're growing up, mostly because they're trying to educate them. And that link screws them up. Figure that one out. It's very frustrating, in my opinion. Now, I understand that they want to raise them that way, fine. But I want contact with my children. Flat out. I want contact with my kids. Me even saying that I'm in contact with two of them, which is not even really, it's accurate, but it's not accurate at the same time, because I'm only contacted when they're capable. If I reach out to them, then how do I say this? My thoughts, because I don't do it verbally, I do it telepathically. The only way I can describe this is that my thoughts are relayed, which is one of the reasons why you've got to be very careful, because this is not supposed to be happening. The other one is so rare that, I mean, am I in contact? On one level, yeah. On another, there's no way in hell. It's so few, far, and infrequent. But the other one, it's a specific ET. They had specific permission at the beginning, and then that specific adult child said, I'm not supposed to be in contact with you anymore, Mama. And I'm like, what? And I was told, but I am going to be. I'm going to find a way to do it. And they did. But I know this, when I respond not directly, if that person is contacting me directly, then there's a conversation. And it's extremely short. I mean, we're talking seconds. I don't even think it's a total of 15 seconds. And they figure out, well, they're in a higher consciousness, much higher consciousness than I am, or than us humans are. That for that matter. And by them being in such a high version of consciousness, because I don't know what else to call it. I mean, they're really far up there. I mean, really, really, really far up there, in the higher consciousness realms. And by them being able to be that far up, it's super easy for him to figure out where I'm at, if I'm asleep, what I'm doing, because he knows that I want to remember. I want to remember the conversation. I want to remember what's going on, all of it. And so, I get looked in on, basically. I don't know how else to say it. And they find a window. They just find a window of being able to access me at the same time of it's safe for them. I know that it's looked upon, based on what I've been told by the two of them, that it's a very negative, very detrimental. And the ETs do not want them contacting us. And yet they want us as humans giving birth to these children. I find that really repugnant. Maybe that's not the right word right now. I don't know. I find it, a word that comes to my mind is morally reprehensible. Phrase. I'm not okay with it. I can deal with a lot of different things. And I have. There's certain things I'm absolutely not freaking okay with. And maybe that's something that needs to change for them in order for us humans to come into being a little bit more in the sense of how we need to work on things for us. What bothers me is how many millions of people are in the hybridization programs. How many hybridization programs are actually going on Earth? I know that they are very, very not tolerant of the fact that humans hate so much. A huge amount of ET races do not like the fact that humans have a lot of anger and hatred, and we're so violent. Part of that is because of our emotions, which is one of the reasons why they took emotions out of their own genetic factor for a couple of different races, or not just one or two. Late reaction. But, it is what it is. But we need to raise our own consciousness. We need to come together. I honestly believe there are millions in the hybridization program. But why? Why so many? I mean, seriously, why so many? Is it because that we are, and who has all the answers? Nobody. No one person, no one human has every single answer to this. This is all based on numerous experiencers talking, telling their stories. This is why I have been saying for weeks, longer than that actually, that us experiencers are disclosure. We are disclosure. Government is not going to give up shit. I mean, grand scheme of things, Why would they? They've got way too frickin' much to lose. Look what the hell's been going on with the congressional hearings in the United States. And I'm living in the United States. So this is my country. There are many things that I'm proud of it for. There are many things that I think are absolutely deplorable. And so much other things that I have to talk about regarding us in this country. However, and the fact that the United States targets its own, that's fact. You can't freaking come at me for that. That is fact. We target our own citizens. I find that, you talk about morally reprehensible, I find that vile, absolutely vile, that we go after and target our own citizens. US government. Hate that. Absolutely despise that. And I try really hard not to use the H word, the word that says hate. But I get very, very angry over it, and I have every right to be. So, because I am and have been a targeted individual. They've been targeted because I asked about that effing book that has to do with ufology and everything they knew about it. Since 1932, 1933, in that book, that is what that book talked about. I found one page that talked about 1933 that they knew, and I found one page that had 1932. So it was a document. And it was talking about what they had access to. That's all I'm going to say on it. So that's why I know that it's not some 60 or 70 years. Goddamn. Sorry. I was about to say something really nasty. Anyway. So yeah, it really makes an impact. We've been in this. The United States has been in ufology since 1932, 1933, according to the book that I read in the 1980s when I was a older teenager. And that book came from, granted, it came from people I couldn't stand, but it came from a psychic that I call this psychic bitch from hell, because I considered her a corporate kiss-ass spy. She was doing corporate espionage, in my opinion, based on what I saw. So, hey, Black Dragon, simplify. Yeah, so it's just it's interesting being an ET abductee, being a surrogate to hybrid babies. You have quite the situation. That all said, there are many people that may never know. They may never know that they're hybrid surrogates or surrogates for hybrids. That actually disturbs me a great deal. That's why I think there are, well, it's not why, it's one of many reasons why I believe that there's millions of people that are in and dealing with ETs, ET abductions, and I strongly believe that. So anyhow, so the souls, that's what I wanted to talk about too, was that the souls can incarnate. It was absolutely astounded me to find out I mean, truly astounded me. I was dumbfounded for a solid 2 days. Yeah, Black Dragon says as long as we know the truth, makes no difference what others may think. I agree. But that's the thing. They don't want US government doesn't want to spill any beans unless they absolutely are forced to. And even then, it doesn't come lightly. And I get why. Because the shit that they're doing, I mean, they're working with ETs. Not only are they working with they're working with the wrong ETs. Number 1, and number 2, originally we're working with the wrong ones. And by the time I was involved regarding the ET human government, I was somewhere between the ages of 6 and 8. Now, what I remember is being 8 years old and being cattle prodded by a guy in a military uniform who was taking what I could only call a cattle prod and electrocuting me, because not only would I not behave, they couldn't break me. And I was like, so they put me to use in a different way. Black Dragon, the government is scared other people will find out their own crimes against civilians. Yeah. Oh, it goes way beyond that, but yeah. Way, 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 way beyond that. There are things that I'm remembering that I'm just like, it's mind-boggling. I'm having a hard time just even wrapping my mind around certain aspects of the things that I'm remembering. And it's weird because, like, I was listening to a piece of music today and it had military in it in the video, and I come walking back into my bedroom because the music was coming from my bedroom. I had a device on. It was playing music, and it was playing this military song. It's been a long time since I heard it. I don't even remember the name of it right now. And I literally, by the time I hit the hallway to make my way into my bedroom, I could hear the words and I went, oh my God, no, I cannot do that. I've got a show tonight. And if I hear the rest of this song, I'm going to be triggered. And I knew automatically. And I was like, okay, well, maybe later tonight or sometime tomorrow, I will play that song and maybe it will trigger some more memories. I knew I couldn't. There's no way in hell I would have been able to do tonight if I had been triggered like that. And it was I could feel it. It was in the process of starting to trigger memories of ET, numerous ETs, of human military. And I literally shut it down. I was like, no, because anytime I have a flashback, and I start having bits and pieces of memory coming forth like that, it's usually extremely traumatic. Not always, but usually. And that means it takes me anywhere from 12 hours to 3 or 4 days to process it, going, holy shit. I'm going to have to look that one up, Black Dragon. Matter of fact, let me write that down. Hang on one second. Let's get this. There we go. Thank you. One second, guys. Almost done writing. Whoops, wrong. Yeah, I'm it might not trigger it again, or it might trigger something different, but um yeah, I want more of my memories back of things, and this is why I haven't done um this is exactly why I have not done uh, past life regression or uh soul regression or any kind of regression hypnosis, because hey, Robert, never fear, for I am here. um that's why I've not done any regression sessions with anybody, because of the fact, and I almost did. There were a couple of times uh Mary and I were going to schedule, and it never took place, and I'm kind of glad it didn't take place, because of the fact that here I am with hybrid baby memories. Here we go. Sorry, guys. Hybrid baby memories and ET memories and um, soldier human soldiers with ETs. I'm remembering it all on my own. Well, I'm not happy about it, but it's at least I'm remembering it, and things are making so much more sense to me now. Like the fact that, yeah, Atlantis revolves. Atlantis revolves. Yeah. So there are things that recalls. Okay, Atlantis recalls. Yeah, definitely Atlantis recalls. Um, there are things that I'm not quite ready for yet, and yet there are things that I am. So okay, gotta trim that. That was not good. It's just it's difficult. All aspects of this are difficult, and it is very much a process, and you have to acknowledge that this takes time. Oh, look how long it's been taking me. I mean, 2018 to 2024. The grand scheme of things. So at the end of the end of 2018, things really started picking up for me in that regards, and um, yeah, I've had memories. I've had a lot of different memories that I'm like, well, where the hell did that come from, or how does that how does that involve with whatever? And you just live your life. You just go about living your daily life. I mean, how many of us do that? You're out driving around. You're out driving around. You want to go get a cup of coffee. You go get a cup of coffee, and on your way to getting a cup of coffee, you see something in the sky while you're driving, and yet you got to pull over and you're like, what the hell is that? Huh. Well, then you go along your way, your merry way, and you don't think anything of it. Did you see an ET ship? A UFO? Or was it a UAP? Because UAP to me means government. A UFO to me is not government. UAP to me is government. So I find that I find that new vernacular a bunch of shit, to be quite honest, because it's been put out by the US government. Do I trust the US government anymore? Are you freaking kidding me? No way in hell. Wouldn't trust them to throw a. No, I don't trust them. Not after everything that no way in hell. Not after what I've experienced, what I've seen, and like I said a number of weeks ago, I can name 3 military retired who are now retired officers, 3 of them who stood over me at different times while I was dealing with come on. That's the problem. My brain's trying to say what I don't want to say right now. How do I say it then? I was dealing with them because they'd put me into a part of a space program. I wasn't this body back then. Yeah, I had PCOS. Yeah, I was overweight, but I wasn't like this. I was extremely physically active. At home, here at home on Earth in Seattle, I was doing, sorry, my scissors. Scissors. I was doing being a homeschool mom, being an advocate, being terracing yards on my own, building structures, doing a lot of different things. So I mean, I've done a lot of different things. So I was very physically active back then. Walking daily and dealing with kids and dealing with neighborhood kids, and my house was the house where all the neighborhood kids would come and play, which was fine. So it's just, during the day, and then after 6, it was like, nope, everybody's going home, or they'd have dinner at my place. So it's just, I remember, I now understand different things. I now understand why I absolutely couldn't stand certain things in my life at the time. I now understand why I used to do my hair a very specific way, which is just bizarre to me now. But now things make perfect sense why I was so adamant about certain things in my life and so regimented. It's because of what the frick I was dealing with off world. Fire, they were taking me higher in the higher consciousness form. And there were times that they were taking me physically. So if you don't think that you can be an ET abductee and not leave this planet, you can be an ET abductee and not leave this planet, folks. I am here to tell you. They can take you in your higher consciousness while you sleep. That I'm not okay with. Not okay with that. But I've also got, for me personally, I've got a soul contract with them. I get that. I don't have a soul contract with the US government and the ETs who are doing that. That's a special thing. That's where they take you whether you want to go or not. And that, like to see that rammed up inside, shaking around a little bit and gone, I have choice words for the abduction of children by the US frickin' government. I am very angry over that. Very, very angry over that. And I put a lot of that anger, I'm like, nope, put a lot of that anger off to the side, because if I don't, I won't get through my days. I'm not okay with the fact that they are doing that. I'm not okay with the fact that there's so many children that have been taken. It's not just sex trafficking that this is happening with kids. It's also because it makes them, how do I want to say this? You're pliable. Because you're young and vulnerable, you're pliable. And I have every right to be angry. Every frickin' right to be angry over this. Violently angry if I chose. I choose not to go that route. I choose to get my anger out in positive, healthy ways. Right now is not one of them at this very second because it's building right now. And I'm trying to go, nope, 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 nope. We're not going to get there. I have every right to be angry. And so should every human on this frickin' planet, because if the US government's doing it, there are other governments who are doing it as well. It's not just them. And I have talked about that. So anyway, there are things that are taking place that are not okay. And no amount of political go stand in front of some political who's it, doesn't matter who it is. They don't give a shit. They're not going to do diddly about it. Because this has been going on for over 90 years, folks. Think about that. They have everything to lose. Look how many people they off. Because they don't want their secrets coming out. Not okay with this. Nobody should be. Black Dragon. Sorry, I was reading, folks. Black Dragon says, when I was in high school, I disappeared from my classroom. Had kids and the teacher ask me where I went. I remember leaving the class right after the bell rung, but recall not seeing nor hearing other people. Yeah, there are people that I know that have talked about the fact. We're talking about the US government space program, the very deeply hidden version of it. And Robert White just said hundreds of years, not just 90. And these people have talked about the fact that when they were in school, they were being taken into a small classroom. They were being individually taken out of their classes in elementary school, put into a separate class, whether it was for an hour a day during the week or half hour at a time, and they don't remember what happened. And the next thing they remember is they're in some big facility. That's not good, folks. That's a lot. I've heard more and more, whether they're super soldiers. I don't give two shits if you don't believe about super soldier. I don't care. I don't care anymore. I don't give a shit. That's your prerogative. You don't have to believe it. I know it because I've experienced it. And I know others who have experienced it and who have experienced it really badly, worse than I have. So much worse than I have. And if I could remember the name of the guy who was murdered, I'd talk to his family. Because they're still, that I know in everything in me, this guy was listed as missing by his family. He's no longer alive because I saw him murdered, and it was ordered by the frickin' Yaku military person who was standing right behind me. He wanted the guy to die. God, I was pissed. Still am. It's not okay. And it was no suicide mission, so it completely different ballgame. So, yeah, it what they're doing, what they're setting things up, it's not okay. And I think about all the kids that get taken for these. Black Dragon, I am just a freak. Too many strange things happened in my life that I can't explain. Yeah. I mean, it happens quite often. There are a lot of strange things that are just unexplainable to us at the time. It's kind of rough. It's kind of difficult, especially when it gets to paranormal. We just went through Halloween a couple weeks ago. Paranormal is a different ballgame altogether than ETs. There's so much to it. Souls, there's so much to it, and there's so much to spirits. Like those 10 to 12 ETs, 10 to 12 spirits that I had here with 2 ETs and one specific soul. I mean, it was like standing around me, and it was really intense. So, and I just realized why the souls were standing around. And I don't know if I can't say that because I haven't said it yet. And Trace says, I am a freak. Honey, you're in the freak choir. Oh, now here's something. This is not the first I've heard of this. Black Dragon just said, I was O positive. He's talking about his blood type, guys and ladies. I was O positive before I went into the military, and after the war, I somehow gotten A positive blood now. I know a lot of people like that. You would be surprised how many people are just like that. I've heard, and specifically, it's specific to O positive blood to A positive blood. That is not the first. That's not even the 5th time I've heard that. That's like, especially in the last 3 years, I've heard that a lot. There's something about, and I didn't even know that a blood type could change. I didn't think it could. But with having so many people talking about the fact of when they were in elementary school or even high school, their blood was typed. And they've got it. I've got mine. Mine is still, as far as I know, it's still the specific blood type. And it's still the same one. But I can't fathom, I literally cannot fathom going through that experience, knowing that your blood type is one specific blood type, and then years later, you're retyped because of whatever reason, and the next thing you know, you've got a different blood type. The other one, Black Dragon, B. There's something about B. It's O positive to A positive. There's another one with O positive to B, but I don't remember if it's B positive or B negative, regarding the blood type. So yeah, it does. It happens. Did I finish the story about the... I don't remember. If I didn't, I apologize. trying to think if there's anything else. I can't think of anything else. Ask questions, folks. Speaking of which, let's find out if we've got other things going here. Come on. Open. Bigfoot Michigan Rob is on right now. Okay. That makes perfect sense. And Nathan is on. Bigfoot Michigan Rob, Nathan, and I don't even remember who the hell that is. Okay. So I haven't even talked about the subject to like smoke bacon. Yes, actually I do. Well, it's got to be specific though. And the smoke can't be too much or it makes me sicker than a damn dog. What did you think about the congressional hearing that happened this, I believe it was Wednesday. Was it Thursday? I don't remember which day it was. I think it was Wednesday. And my eyes are really blue right now. Wow. Really blue. Wow. They're usually hazel, so that tells me some stuff is going on. I have blue-green eyes, and right now they are extremely blue. So didn't see it, to be honest. Tobacco doesn't make the bacon taste good. No, it doesn't. Well, tobacco, no. There's a difference, Robert. It's not tobacco. It's not that kind of smoke. It's kind of like a grilling smoke. Anyway, everybody's going on and on about how it's a nothing burger. In the grand scheme of things, in ufology, okay, Black Dragon, I have apple smoked bacon. Oh, sounds good. Sounds really good. In the grand scheme of things, that is correct. But those are coming from the ufology community. Now, those of us who grasp the fact that the US government has an enormous amount of information to, I was going to say lose, that's not the right way to say it. They have an enormous amount of things that they will lose if what they know comes out. And you've got to realize too that they've got an extreme amount of contracts. Government, ouch! Okay, everything's moving and twisting and tweaking and making squeaky noises. They've got a huge amount to lose, not only with safety and security measures, but also with, they've got a space program going on, a real space program going on. Ones with where they're actually dealing with ETs on a regular basis. Sorry, guys. And in that, it makes things very difficult. Okay, ladies, if you got huge tits, I apologize. Huge tits are a pain in the ass to deal with. Okay, squeaky. Anyway, that's something that not a lot of people are taking into consideration. US government has a great deal of things to lose if they did come out with a lot of their information. And what bothers me about all of this is that even those in Congress don't seem to grasp that. And that is disturbing. Because they're not stupid people. In the grand scheme of things, they're not stupid people. It's just you're not bothering to ask the right questions because you're dealing with so much other stuff. I get that too. But hello. Black Dragon says they would lose a lot of money. Honey, it would be more than just losing a lot of money. They would be losing, it would open up the doors. Do the ones that open up the doors to that information, are they going to be unalived? Do the ones that, with that kind of information and the military contracts that they've got, specifically for those kinds of things, do they, not only is it what's it going to cost them, but is the public going to be able to really handle it? Say they did come out. How many lawsuits against the United States government is going to happen? Then how many damn it. About had it with that thing. Then you're dealing with, you think that what we went through with the pandemic was bad? It wouldn't be anything in comparison to what happens if the US government actually came out and talked and really told what they've been doing. I could potentially see sniper rifles everywhere. That's some scary shit, folks. Think about that. That is people would be livid. There would be all-out war on this land. I honestly believe that. You look at the way the country is built and designed, there are different sections of this country that would definitely take up arms over it. And they would demand a lot. They wouldn't get it, but they would demand a lot. But to be honest, quite honestly, I think it would cause a civil war on this property, and property, I mean the entire United States, anywhere in the United States, because of what the US government is doing. The potentiality for horror is there, and it is horror. Ouch. Okay, sorry. There are a lot of facts of the horror of it. And then there are things where the science, they don't want the science out. They don't want different things. Who was it that asked? Trace, I will get to your question in a minute. I wanted you to know I haven't forgotten about you. Yeah, it's not okay. There's too many things where they've got their fingers in the pie. Too many pieces of pie, too many pies all the way around. And then with the fact of what I'm remembering, I can't even, do you know how many lawsuits there would be? It would not just cripple the United States government, it would take them out and down. I don't think we would have a nation, to be quite honest. That's not coming from a psychic, that is coming from an experiencer. Because with as pissed off as I am over it, and I'm not doing shit about it, I'm not taking up arms, I'm not doing anything about it. I'm trying to deal with what I'm remembering. I'm trying to stay calm. I'm trying to stay in the positive of my life and what I've experienced. Have I gone through the grieving stages? Oh, hell yeah. Do I have PTSD because of this shit. Oh, fuck yeah. I do. Do I have complex PTSD? Oh, hell yeah. I make no bones about that. Whatsoever. I mean, the fact that I remembered with this asshole standing next to me with his hand gripping my shoulder, that MFer I'd like to see you beaten within an inch of your life. That's the kind of thing. I will talk before I take action. I will talk a lot before I take action. And I will not use my abilities to take action, just an FYI, unless I myself am under attack. Then I will defend myself or my family. That said, I can't imagine the anger of other people that would take action. Think about that for a second. There are a lot of angry people in this country. A lot of angry people in this country. Look at what's happened in the political society and political arena already, just in the last 4 years, let alone this last election. What the hell was that? Was it? Sorry, I can't stand. I couldn't stand either of them. So I really can't stand the one that there's now. Anyway, and I had a dislike for political things to begin with. Now I'm like, oh my God. But there are bigger problems than that. There are a lot bigger problems than that. That is nothing in comparison to what's really going on in this country, and with the military, and with the hidden aspect of the military, and with the hidden aspect of this US government, let alone other governments who are involved regarding the space program. It's a collective form of, lack of a better terminology, agency that they've created. I don't remember the name of it. I literally just got told Dark Force. Anyway, I got a fuss. It's one of those days. It's just how it is. Defense. I gotta write that down. Defense Dark Force. Something to that effect. I heard Dark Force, and then it was later that I heard Defense. Anyway, disseminate. Robert says dissemination and Black Crow. Yeah. Okay, Trace wants to know, do the ones who visit you have names? Yes, they do. Do I know them? Yes, I do. Do I remember them? No, I don't. How do I know that they've got names? Because I remember, I have vague recollections of when they and I have been talking, and I have a physical, like my jaw has a physical memory of actually saying their name verbally. My mind has a memory of being corrected to be telepathic instead of being verbal. That's one of the reasons why I know. Now, I also know that for whatever reason, I'm not allowed to remember certain names. Even because the names that I give my kids, the names that I give my kids, my hybrid kids, I remember some of them, but that's not the names that they're given. If I say their name, will they come to me? That's too dangerous to answer. That's way too dangerous to answer. So, but honestly, regarding the government and regarding the anger level and regarding the, whatchamacallit, the hell is it called? Congressional hearing, a lot more was actually given to the general public. You have to remember that. Those of us in ufology, we know the information that was talked about because we're following it on a regular basis. Those in the general public, I know somebody whose father thinks this whole subject is completely laughable. I've had numerous conversations with the person too. And it wasn't until quite, how do I say this? They started to believe a little bit, but then it's everything is still a joke to them. So, I get that. That attitude, though, is essentially the general population, the general public. But here's the thing. They're getting, yes, it is a drip, 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 drip factor with the US government. That said, there is information that is coming out. Granted, it's not what we all want. Granted, the US government is approving what can and cannot be said. Hello, because these people are signing NDAs, non-disclosure agreements, which means if they talk about it, they will go to prison. Do you want them going to prison for the rest of their life for saying anything about any of the stuff they have seen? You want them no longer, because this is how the governments do this. When you sign an NDA, yeah, or worse, exactly, Black Dragon, or worse. I mean, many of them have been unalived because they've started to talk about it, or because they let it slip that they were going to say something to somebody, or they had a hit put out on them. I know somebody that, screw it, I'm going to say it. I know somebody that had a hit put out on them by 3 different governments. Took them years, but they eventually got him. Okay, I'm having hair fall out. It's driving me nuts. So yeah. Robert White says, insert a Samuel L. Jackson euphemism here. Pretty freaking much. Am effer. That's the first words that come to my mind. But yeah, I mean, seriously, think about this. You're asking these people who have signed NDAs, who have witnessed and have experienced this, to give up their freedom to live in the country that they were born and raised in, or whatever country they choose to affiliate with. You're asking them because you are being selfish and you want, and yet it's not selfish, but yet it is. It's selfish because it's them and their thing, their life. They lived with all of these experiences and all of this stuff that they were a part of. But you are asking them to divulge everything, which means if they do, they give up, they forfeit their life. That's what you're asking them to do. Think about that. Would you be willing to do that? Not okay. Not okay. So they have to have what they want to say be approved because of these effing non-disclosure agreements. I have not, yelled this today because I was so frustrated over something. I have not signed an NDA. I have not, in this body, in this conscious mind, signed an NDA for the US government. Now, that said, if I signed an NDA for the US government in one of my cloned bodies because you held my family as a threat against me and forced me to sign in one of my clone bodies in a version of extreme higher consciousness, not okay. Do I know that that's what's happened? No, I don't. Do I suspect that's what's happened? You better frickin' believe I do. Because I think that that is what they have done to many of us who have been in any of the space programs. And I'm getting a lag here. So if somebody sees a lag or hears a lag, let me know, please. I would appreciate that. Yeah. Black Dragon says not all NDAs are on paper. That's very true. Some NDAs are soul contracts. That's very true. Robert says, yep, that one regarding the Samuel L. Jackson euphemism. That's rather comical. Anyway, so that's what you're essentially asking these people, these people who have signed NDAs to do. You're asking them to give up their life, to be in give up their life and their freedom and their family's access to them in a healthy, fashionable form to live out the rest of their life in prison so that you and the rest of the public can have this information. Do you know what the US government does to those regarding? I mean, that would be that's political suicide. It's really bad. Well, it's not a version of political suicide. It's a different version of it, but that's essentially it in a nutshell. Hey, cow. And none of the SSP people ever got anything that I'm aware of correct. Correct. So, take that on. Think about it. Let it sit and percolate for a while. It's not costing you shit, but it's going to cost them everything. Everything they treasure, everything they love. That's what it's going to cost them. Now, I know certain people that have said to me and have said publicly that if they were ever given the opportunity to know it all and they had to sign an NDA, they would. No way in hell. No way in hell. I've seen too much shit. No. And I've talked about this repeatedly. I honestly believe there's a vast amount of information that the US government does that can be talked about. Granted, I get that there are, and I'm literally being shown a lot of science projects. I'm not well, yeah, part of the science projects I am talking about, but others I'm not. There are a lot of things that can be talked about. I get there are things that can't be. I get that. But there are quite a few things that can be. And that should be. But here's the thing. That all leads into questions. Questions they don't want to answer. Okay. They're doing so much nefarious shit, and yet, at the same time, they are doing some good things. Which one outweighs the other? Seriously, which one outweighs the other? Anyway, I'm at 2 hours and 15 minutes into this. Anybody with questions? I think that, let me hit this one last time. CNBC TV 18 is replaying it again. Shocking UFO report finds 21 alleged, excuse me. My brain was trying to say allegations. It's not it. 21 alleged sightings. Well, people in ufology are like, big fucking deal. But it is. It's getting the information out there, and it is important whether you want to believe that part of it is or isn't. It's stuff we've all known, yeah. But in the grand scheme of things, the general public doesn't. And right now, that is what I think they're doing. I think they're doing this for the general public, not for ufology groups. That's for damn sure. But for the general population. They want it coming out. They want the info coming out. And it's understandable. So, anyway, okay. All right, let's see if I can do this without having... Yeah, I can. Okay. Okay, that works. All right. Black Dragon. Some scientists are running scared. Yeah, I kind of think they should be in some regards. Look what's going on with this planet. And there are things that, okay. How real is a place like the TV show? And I'm going to use it as a TV show because, hello, government's been doing the slow drip factor since movies became movies. Let's think about that one for a while. But how well is the show Eureka? Is there a form of a town? Granted, may not be named Eureka, but is there a form of a town that is like Eureka? Old TV show back in the mid 2000s. You know. Okay. I keep hearing something is headed. Excuse me, headed this way, but no specifics. Doomsday Comet, giant UFO. Well, in that regards, yeah, a lot of us psychics are picking up stuff. There's a number of us that have been talking about something is supposed to happen before the end of December of this year. Now, we've had one major thing happen already, and that was Hurricane Helene. That caused a great deal of problems. Supposedly, there's other things that are in the process. Hang on. Sorry. Oh, sorry, guys. So basically, we're left with having to deal with this as it is, whether we like what's taken place with congressional hearings or not. It's what we're stuck with. You can't force them. And they're in a world of their own. They've created a world of their own. Although I have some choice things for that. But anyway. Then I'm starting to lose my train of thought and I'm having a hard time right now. So I think that's probably where we're going to end it as about 2:20, 2:21. Did I talk about everything that I wanted to talk about? Yeah. Telepathic. So with the hybrid pregnancies, the babies are telepathic. I did talk about that already. A lot of times that's very subtle, and it will come across and seem like, hey, folks, come on in, have a seat, grab a cuppa. Robert. Okay, so Robert and Amy are talking about Eureka. Robert says, went through Eureka, a TV show, and was majorly disappointed. Amy says, no Eureka moment, Robert? Amy says, nope. Robert says, didn't even see Sarah. Robert says, watches Nikki's caboose go sailing by. Holy shit. Oh my God, Robert. Jesus. Anyway, so the babies, the actual town we went through. Got it. Jesus. It's like, what the hell are you talking about, dude? Anyway, so the babies, they're telepathic. It can come across as, the telepathy can actually come across. You wouldn't even realize that you're pregnant. One of the reasons why I know is because I feel the souls of the babies, or the souls of the spirits, come into the babies. I also have felt, you feel there's a difference when you're pregnant and when you're not. For me, I feel the weight of the soul. And then down below, it's like you go from, so like this is your back and this is your stomach, but down below. So you go from like this to where you feel like you're swollen, or some people would say bloated, and you know damn well that you're not bloated. And bloated isn't the right word, but it's the only word that even remotely comes close to what's going on. And then you get some babies, like I've had some babies, and it's typically the males. I've had some babies where they are like, hey, mama, right after they wake up, and I'm like, wow, it was that loud. And you're like, okay, I know you're really there. And some of them crave certain things, like when that's one of the ways that I know which race of ET I'm carrying, which race of hybrid that I'm carrying, that it's been spliced and diced with. So some of them crave tomatoes. Can't eat tomatoes, I'm allergic. But if I do that, then I have to be sure that I have some form of antihistamine. Pickles and ice cream. No, actually, when I was human pregnant, no, this is going to get some people rolling their eyes going, oh, that's gross. Yeah, it was. But it was what I was craving. That's actually how I knew I was pregnant when I was human pregnant with my son. I craved pickles, peanut butter, and orange juice all at the same time. That was how I knew. I was like, I need to get a pregnancy test. Oh my God. I remember I was at my mom's apartment in Seattle. I was technically living in Seattle, but I was living in South Seattle at the time. And she was in North Seattle. And I had come in to Seattle for the day and to see, and to see my mom and to take care of a bunch of different business. And I took care of business and I got back to her. I had left the apartment and I'd come back. And I was craving something to drink. And I was like, God, I really want some fruit. And Mom had orange. And I went, oh, orange juice. And then she had pickles. And I went, ah. So we grabbed I grabbed the peanut butter jar out of the fridge. And I was like, and I got to have this. I don't know what there's about this, but I took out like three large heaping scoops of peanut butter, put it in a container or in a bowl or something. I put it in something. And I saw the pickles and I went, oh, that sounds good. And I went, and it wasn't until I took a bite of the pickle, a partial scoop off with the pickle in my mouth and the peanut butter, and I downed it with orange juice. And it was when the orange juice was going down that I went, oh my God, I need to go get a pregnancy test. That was how I knew. I was like, okay. Well, by that point, I was 6 weeks pregnant. I was 5 weeks pregnant, and by the time the doctor got me sent in for an ultrasound, I was 6 weeks pregnant at the time. So that's how I found out I was ET pregnant, or human pregnant. ET pregnancy is very different. Very, very, very different. You can have a period at the same time as pickles and ice cream. Robert says, he also says, so glad Baskin Robbins was open 24/7 in Portland. Oh God. Yeah, I mean, there's just something about pickles, ice cream, orange juice, and peanut butter when you're pregnant. I had girlfriends that went through gallons, and these were like really relatively thin women. When they were pregnant, they'd go through gallons of chocolate milk. I'm like, okay, you're craving milk and you're craving chocolate. Why not make your no, they're like, no, I got to get the gallons. And I'm like, oh, wow, okay. And then by the time I was 6 months pregnant, I could not get enough fruits and vegetables. And I was like constantly craving fruits and vegetables. And my son, after he was born, was a toddler eating food and all this other stuff. He was a chow hound for broccoli and asparagus and carrots and zucchini and, oh my God, cucumbers. And we went through vegetables like it was going out of style. So, I mean, it was very much that way. And there are other races, hybrids that I've had where it's not tomatoes. It's completely different ballgame. I had one that craved pickles. It was a combination. And then I went, oh my God, do I actually have to get vinegar and start drinking vinegar? Because this is crazy shit. I mean, this is like, I was like cucumbers and it was specific with cucumbers and pickles. And it was specific kinds of pickles. It was crazy. Trying to think of some of the other cravings I've had. Real significant, the kind of things that you wouldn't normally, I mean, and I don't crave, I'll get I really want to have some chili once in a while, but that took, That was pretty up there. But yeah, I can usually tell which race of ET has been spliced and diced into the genetics. So that's the other thing, as sometimes you can tell, but I'm also very aware. Sorry guys, I'm starting to lose it a little bit here. Pickles and ice cream with chunks of fish is wonderful. Chunks of fish? Sorry. Fish? I'm stunned. Just now, I could see that with things like crab or a lobster, but not anything else. Oh God. Okay, maybe salmon. Pickles and salmon. Oh God, there's a lot of things. Of course, people like lutefisk. That is not my thing. No. Please don't say that really smelly fish from Denmark. Oh God. Yeah, there's a Norwegian community in Seattle. The neighborhood area is called Ballard, and lutefisk, lutefish, whatever. Anyway, is I apologize to those who like it. Ugh, sorry, I can't. That's just ooh, sorry. Black dragon, fish heads, eat them up. Well, okay, fish heads and bones. I mean, you can make a really good broth out of that. Make it, strain all the stuff out and use the broth for making chowder and making all sorts of other things. So, there's a lot of different things used for that kind of, anyway, babbling. Sorry. Anyway, yeah, it's time for Nikki to go. Oh, I need to go get a med and probably have some dinner. Anyway, I hope you guys have a good evening. I was just going to say I will be back this coming Thursday, but I got to check the date to be sure. Because if it is a date I've got an appointment, then I can't do it. Yes, I can. Awesome. Okay, so I will be back Thursday at 7 p.m. So it'd be the 21st, November 21st. I hope you come. Hey, Christine. I'm not reading that, Robert. Good to see you, Christine. If you want to read it, Robert wrote something about lutefisk in the chat. I'm not reading that out loud. Anyway, you've been resting and listening. Okay. Yeah, it's time for me to go. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else with the hybrid babies that can be talked about that's safe to be talked about. Copy and pasted. Okay, good to know, Robert. Thank you. I think that's pretty much it. We dealt with the genetics roaming through the bloodstream and the body of the mothers, of the surrogates. We talked about the pregnancies. for the most part. And it's so short. You're 3 months pregnant. I mean, with this race of ET that's doing this specific hybridization program, it's very rare if you get a pregnancy that's going to last more than 4 months. It's very rare. It does happen, but it means that it's a very small baby, usually. And it's a very specific race of ET. Oh, that's nice. Anyway, it's a very specific race of ET, which means it's going to be a smaller hybrid baby. But it does periodically happen. Roses and bacon, nice. Yeah. Anyway, on that note, can't think of anything else. Christine says, Nikki, thank you for sharing, and I hope you stay well. Please. Yeah, I hope so too. No more viruses, no more other things. I appreciate that very, very much. That's it, folks. Not sure what we're going to talk about next week, but I will post something. I'll get it done tonight so that it's up for you guys for this Thursday, so that all you have to do is, I didn't get that done until late tonight, so that I apologize for. I usually like getting out more notification and all of that. It's just, it wasn't happening. I'm still struggling, but I'm better than I was. That's better than the migraines I was having. That was the other thing. You have all this other stuff and then have all these migraines on top of everything else. Bad combo. Really, really bad combo. So I'm glad I'm better. Anyway, babbling. I hope you have a good rest of your weekend, or whenever you are listening to this replay. Take good care, my friends. Bye, guys. Okay, I gotta find the button proper. Oh my god. Bye, everybody.